Driccus, I know you've been kind of building to this moment steadily since you got in the UFC. I know it's not the ultimate goal, but it does seem like the biggest fight so far. So what is the feeling like ahead of this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely the biggest fight of my career, but so was the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. So that feels familiar. You know, my fight week's exactly the same. I'm doing a little bit more talking to folks, but it feels great. You know, the atmosphere and finally seeing myself on not on the undercard. Rob can be like very lucky. Like we almost opened up this card, but being on the main card of this, like just before the title fight, and seeing yourself on a countdown show, seeing myself on the promotional video, it's something special, and I'm taking it in. I'm loving it.
Last week, this procedure you had, this nasal procedure, I guess, can you talk to us about, can you quantify how much different you are in training so far, or is that only going to be revealed in the fight? Like, how much of a difference is this making?
Yeah, some people would say, listen, this nose surgery, are you going to be a new fighter? And I'm like, guys, it's just a nose surgery. It's definitely making a difference in how I look when I fight, because, breathing through your mouth definitely looks crazy, and you definitely start hyperventilating when you're breathing heavily. And during my rest rounds, I can really, that's where the big difference comes in. And my recovery, my sleep, everything has been better. And there's definitely a difference, but how big of a difference? Am I going to get tired? Most certainly, because if you look at the output that I put, anybody in the world will get tired from that. But maybe I look a little bit better doing it.
Talk about the challenge you have here in Rob, obviously a guy that's been around at the top level of the game for a long time. I mean, is this the most difficult opponent you faced to date, and how difficult was it preparing for him?
Yes, most certainly the best opponent I've faced in my whole career. But I can say the same to him. He is an incredible fighter, and people would say, where do you see holes in his game? And to see a hole in a game of someone like Whittaker is extremely hard. And I don't think that's the way to go. I'm not looking for holes in his game. I'm looking to force mistakes and capitalizing on those. And that's exactly what I'm going to do when I go out there, is enforce my style. And Whittaker, shot for shot, he's extremely fast and he's very calculated. And when he gets his style going, when he's in his comfort zone, he's very dangerous. And to make sure he doesn't get to that comfort zone, making sure I'm taking him out of that comfort zone into my world, where it's a dark place and I feel at home.
Last thing for me, we know this is a big fight, but I guess the question is just how big? Is this a #1 contender fight? Does the winner get a title shot? I guess what's your understanding of this? I mean, you're viewing it as a #1 contender fight, and are you looking at a quick turnaround in Sydney as a possibility? I mean, is that even remotely possible 2 months from now, 9 weeks from now?
Well, up until this point, I've been this past 7 months, I think this is my third fight in 7 months. So I've been turning around and getting these fights in to climb this ladder. And if I'm physically capable, if there's no problem for me to start my fight camp and be ready for that title fight, no problem at all. I'll be ready. And but not even considering that when I get into the cage with Robert Whittaker. I'm willing to take a limb off and this be the last fight of my life to beat Robert Whittaker with that piece of limb. I'm not even thinking about this title fight right now. I'm thinking about Robert Whittaker, and I mean, I guess they'll decide if I'm #1 contender or not.
Driccus over here. Kind of going off of that, like say you are in a war with Rob and you're too banged up to have a quick turnaround to Sydney. Is the fact that Israel keeps bringing you up, like he seems to want to fight you. So say Israel fights someone like Sean Strickland in Sydney and wins, like you're still most likely going to get that Israel fight even if you can't fight in Sydney. Is that in the back of your mind too? Like just you got to beat Rob no matter what, right? Yeah,
sure. I mean, that's, like I said, we can literally sort out all of that. And at the end of the day, it's not my call. It's the UFC's call. And but there won't be any denying me as the #1 contender after I beat Rob. But yeah, if that's the way they want to do it, if it's not possible for me physically to fight in Sydney, if there's injury or like you said, if you get extremely bad cuts, there's no way that then you're out for a couple. When that's you never know what happens in the sport. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't bother me. At the end of the day, it's nothing about. I don't want to fight Izzy. I want to fight the guy with the belt. So whether it's Izzy, whether it's Strickland, I don't care. For me, it's about fighting whoever has that title to become the champion.
Rob was in here earlier, and he actually labeled you as the most dangerous fight for him because he viewed you as a fighter with nothing to lose, and he said there's nothing more dangerous than fighting someone with nothing to lose. I'm curious if you view yourself in that same way.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. I have everything to lose. What do you mean? I've built up this record. I'm fighting for number one, to be number one in the world, to be the champion, the world champion. What does he mean? Of course I have something to lose. I have everything to lose. I'm here to win. I'm here to be the UFC middleweight champion of the world, and I have to get through Robert Whittaker, which is a very, very tall order. But I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to beat Robert Whittaker and get my shot at fighting for that title. But nothing to lose, that makes no sense.
And unrelated to this fight, what do you make of your countryman Elon Musk possibly trying to have an MMA fight with Mark Zuckerberg?
That's interesting. I think it's going to it'll obviously be massive, but I don't know what do you say to something like that? Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. It'll be massive, but it'll be cool to see what they can manage to do. I guess the technology and the training will be next level.
Hey, Driccus, over here.
Hold on, one more.
Sorry.
Just one more. It's Robbie Lawler's last fight on Saturday. I'm just curious if you have any favorite memories or favorite fights of his career.
Oh man, obviously favorite fight. You can't go anywhere else than Rory McDonald's fight, and obviously you can almost go and say in that same fight is the favorite moment ever, where they just did that stare down, and Robbie Lawler, his lip was so busted, and when he spit, there was just blood everywhere. And of course, another massive moment in his career is when him and Johnny Hendricks fought. And it was almost, that became his signature move. Like the last minute and a half, he would just be like, even though he's so tired, just go like, oh, my opponent's holding Thai pads, and he'll just be teeing off, kicking. And the fact that the man in all of his fights didn't go for a submission once, that is the coolest thing ever, and that is so badass. He has all my respect, and he's an absolute legend.
Driccus over here. Sorry again, Jose. Didn't mean to jump the gun there. Robert Whittaker is an extremely tough guy to finish. We've seen, I think the only guy to knock him out at middleweight was Adesanya. You're used to finishing your opponents. Does that change the game plan at all, just with how durable he is?
No, it's not really comparable. But my debut fight, I fought Marcus Perez, who's never been finished, and I've only had finishes, and that was one of those fights where I was like, wow, this is interesting, because and he has a lot of fights. A guy who's never been finished versus a guy who's only finished his opponents. And I got that finish. So, it's just my style. It didn't change my preparation at all. I'm going out there, and if I can't finish Robert Whittaker, it's going to be a fight like Brad Tavares. Who's so extremely tough that, it wasn't for a lack of trying. But if that's the case, I'm more than happy to go to that decision, because Brad Tavares' fight up until this point in my career was my favorite fight. It was such a cool fight to be a part of. Watching it as a fan, it's amazing. And if I have that kind of fight with Whittaker, I would love that. But, I'm going out there. If this opportunity comes in the first minute, I'm taking it. And if it comes in the last second, I'm taking it to finish this fight.
I know you don't train there all the time, but I saw Brendan Allen called you out, and Brendan obviously is at Kill Cliff. You've trained there before. Did that surprise you a little bit?
Well, this time around, no, because I've heard, I don't know, man doesn't like me, but I don't know. I haven't really spent a lot of time with Brendan personally. We haven't sparred or anything like that while I was there. So yeah, I guess he sees something in me which he can beat, or he doesn't like, or maybe he's like, this guy's too pretty, I want to beat him. But no, Brendan, he's been doing great in his fight. The fight against Silva was great, and obviously the fight against Andre Muniz, that's impressive win. So good for him. I'm glad he's finally getting some wins, but if consistency wise, we've seen in the past. So yeah, good luck to him.
What did you think of Sean Strickland's win over Abus Magomedov last weekend?
Well, great. Abus in that first round to me was absolutely geez, I was like, oh, this is a terrible night at the office for Strickland. And me and Abus, we were set to fight a long time ago. in KSW still, and then he got injured and somebody else stepped in. But I honestly thought that he can give a lot of trouble. Like that was my prediction. He's going to be a tough night for Strickland. But talk about my gas tank. But geez, that was crazy. Like I mean, going in that first round and really getting he was doing so great. Getting that takedown, everything was great. And second round, he was done. He was done. I mean, a minute in that second round, this guy couldn't even stand up. So that was great for Sean Strickland because he took that first round, he took the shots, and with him, he has that 5 rounds in him, and he saw the opportunity and he just went for the kill, and yeah, good for him.
Perhaps my most important question and my last question: you making any time to go to Topgolf this time around?
I'm really, really hoping we're doing it this time. Like we've been talking, we've been here for a couple of weeks, and every time we're like, we have to go play Topgolf. We have to go play Topgolf, but. No, I'm probably going to extend my flight and stay a little bit longer.
Just for Topgolf? Just to
listen, I don't even like playing golf. But Cameron has been in my neck about this Topgolf for so long. He's like, we have to go play Topgolf. So, I'll grant him his wish and we can go play Topgolf because it's always a vote and nobody's voting for the Topgolf.
Driccus over here. You just, back here.
Where? Oh, hey.
You just mentioned Cameron, your teammate, Cameron Simon. He's been on the same card as you every fight since his UFC debut. How special has it been being able to represent South Africa together on these big cards?
Oh man, it's absolutely amazing to see the support grow. More and more people recognizing us over here as the South African duo, and also back home how people are just, the support grows. It feels like everybody is supporting until the next fight comes and more people are supporting. It's incredible. So for us to carry that flag, it means the absolute world. And to have him fight, because all the cards that I've been fighting on has been big cards. So it's almost like throwing him in deep because he's fighting on these massive pay-per-view events on the undercard. But that is, he's been stepping up to the plate. He's absolutely incredible. And I can't wait for you guys to see what he brings to the table this time. But, for us, so there's that competition. Let's see who gets the best, who gets the finish, who gets the performance bonus. It's great. It's an amazing experience for the both of us, and yeah, we're loving to fight on the same cards, and it makes things just so much easier.
And putting the shift back on you, it seems as if a lot of other fighters here are kind of counting you out on this matchup. Is that like a chip on your shoulder that you carry to not only win this fight but also prove everyone else wrong? Yeah,
I don't really care about proving anybody wrong. It's more about proving people right. That's all it is for me. Being counted out, odds don't win fights. Fighters win fights, and I'm a fighter. So I'm going out there. I don't care about the odds or what the other fighters say. For me, they'll all find out soon too if they make it to the top of the pile.
And your last 4 fights have been in Vegas, specifically at the T-Mobile Arena. You're about to head into your 5th in a row over there. What's your favorite part about fighting in this arena?
Right now, it's the familiarity. Getting to know Vegas and being able to use the PI to its fullest extent. I don't think people realize how amazing the facility is and how amazing the treatment is if you have that to your disposal. Every time I come here to Vegas and I train at the PI and I get the services that is given to the fighters, I always feel like this is incredible. This is what it's all about for me. It's being able to focus on my fight and everything is taken care of. I absolutely love it. And, getting to know the people, because everybody working with the UFC and everybody, all the, people that I get to know, and you start to make friends and you build a relationship with all these people. And it's not just going here, going there, and, you meet them once or twice. It's you starting to build a relationship. So that's incredible. And getting familiar with Vegas, getting familiar with the fans that come to the Vegas events. I know it sounds weird, but there's a certain vibe when you fight, especially International Fight Week. Everybody the whole week there's a little bit of a buzz, and it's great. I love fighting in Vegas. It's incredible.
If it was up to you, would you just continue to keep fighting here, or would you like to explore other big destinations to fight in?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind fighting in other big destinations. I would actually love that, but Vegas, regardless, Vegas is amazing. I would love to do Texas. Haven't been, so I would love to do a Texas event sometime. That sounds great. But yeah, to travel around the US or wherever is great. The Abu Dhabi event that's amazing. It's not, the travel is not that far, but I made my debut in Abu Dhabi, but everything was closed. So that's he's dealing with the complete COVID shutdown. But it doesn't really matter to me. It's cool to see the world while doing this. It's really great. It's and it's hard because now I've been in Vegas 4 times. So you're so used to seeing everything. So you're not really seeing what Vegas is anymore. You're just here to focus on the fight, which is good, I guess. But it'll be great to see, so while we're doing this and living my dream, seeing the rest of the world.
Driccus just over here. Hi.
Hi.
Is Robert Whittaker someone that you've always had your eye on as a future opponent?
100%. I've said this in a couple of interviews today that my brother and I, we watch fights and we are massive fans, even way before. And Robert Whittaker, obviously, he's been in the UFC for a very, very long time. And he's been at the top of the pile for a very long time. And, me and my brother spoke about it, and he just went and said, I know you're going to face Robert Whittaker. And I spoke to Bisping about this, and I said, there's just some people, I don't know if all fighters have this feeling, but I had this feeling, I know I'm going to fight this guy. And when I fought Trevin Giles International Fight Week, I think it was 2 years ago, that's when Brad Tavares fought Omari Akhmedov. And I looked at Brad Tavares fighting, and I said, oh, this guy is a tough fight. This is a long night at the office for anybody. And I just had this feeling, I know I'm going to fight Brad Tavares. So I don't know when, I don't know. And he was my next fight. And the same with Whittaker. I just always knew I was going to fight Robert Whittaker. And I knew I wasn't going to fight him when I defend my title. I knew I was going to fight him on my way up. And I've been ready for this for a very long time.
And like you said, he's been at the very top for such a long time. What do you think makes him so dangerous? What do you think it is?
Well, firstly, finding flaws in terms of cardio is really hard. He has great wrestling. He has great striking. He's tough. He can take a punch. He can give a punch. But, also another big thing with Robert Whittaker is a lot of the guys he's been fighting, the good, a Marvin Vittori, Jared Cannonier, these guys have all been beaten by Adesanya. So Robert Whittaker faces them after they've lost to Adesanya. So you're getting a little bit more of a beaten down fighter. You're getting a guy that's just lost to the champion. So your motivation isn't what it should be, I'm assuming. I'm assuming that your motivation is not, this is for the world title. Your motivation is, I just lost my opportunity. I'm going to fight Robert Whittaker and then another guy before I get back to the title. And that's something you have to take into consideration, the mindset of the fighters. So he's faced incredible opponents, but this is where this fight is different. I'm on my way up. I'm the contender right now, fighting Whittaker to fight for that title. So for all practical reasons and for anything that makes sense to me, this is my title fight. Because without this fight, I'm not getting a title. So for me, this fight is my world title fight. And I'm not fighting the champion, then Whittaker. I'm fighting Whittaker on my way up.
And like Jose said earlier, Robert said you're the most dangerous to date because you are the unknown. Do you think you still have more to show that perhaps we haven't yet seen?
Absolutely. I think I have so much more to show. I've just been fighting so often and fighting these good guys. Every time a better guy, jumping the ranks. And every time I feel better in there, every time I feel more comfortable, and I'm getting acclimated with the stage, getting acclimated with the massive names that I'm fighting, the crowds, everything. I'm getting better every time, and there's so much more, so much more to my skill set that I can show. But with Whittaker, he's a prime example of a guy that utilizes all of his weapons, and he does it incredibly well. And what's gonna be needed from me to put on the performance that I know I can with this and to finish Robert Whittaker is going to be the best version, and every single part of my game is going to be needed from me to do that, to finish Robert Whittaker and do it in spectacular fashion. It's going to need my best striking, my best grappling, my best wrestling, and definitely my best performance to date.
With everything that is at stake, would you say this is the biggest moment of your career so far, and do you feel that?
Yes, without a doubt. But like I said, it feels exactly the same as the previous one.
And last one from me, there's obviously two big title fights headlining this weekend. Just wanted to get your opinion on the main event between Volkanovski and Rodriguez.
Yes, Volkanovski, obviously there's no denying that guy. He's, when he fights, he's so good. He very narrowly almost beat Islam, which is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter right now. I think Volkanovski is an incredible athlete. But then with Yair, if you look at his fights, he just has one punch, one kick ability to finish a fight instantly. And I think there's a massive reach advantage for Yair and especially him being a kicker. Anything can happen at any stage in this fight. Like Yair has the ability to finish this fight in the final second of this fight, like he did with the Korean Zombie. So, this is such a dangerous fight for Volkanovski, but I think it's going to be a great fight.
Thank you.
Back here, Driccus. Quick question for you. You made the comment about needing to get over to Topgolf. And last time in early March I was here, I asked you what your favorite thing about Vegas was, and you paused for a second and said the food and the beer. I'm just curious.
Hence, I didn't make it to Topgolf.
But I'm just curious, what is like your actual, you've been to Vegas all these times now, like what do you actually really love about Las Vegas?
Can I stick with my original answer? No, yeah. I mean, I guess that's really, having, but, beer and food everywhere in the world is amazing. But, right here, it feels like where everybody comes for a good time. That's what you get, the vibe everywhere you go. It's just good times all around. Nobody is, you don't see anybody like not on your level when you're in Vegas. So when you go out to celebrate, there's going to be a lot of people on the same level as you. If you go out and I'm cutting weight and just sitting, there's people that work here and live here normal. They're not celebrating every day, and that's on your level. So I guess this place caters for everybody, all needs and all situations and all energy levels.
Perfect. And then last question for you. I know you said you don't really care about what the outside perception is, but I'm curious, every fight you've had so far in the UFC, you haven't lost yet. You're normally the betting favorite, but here you're talking about being one of the biggest underdogs on the card. Does your perception change when the fighter is, maybe theoretically supposed to be better than you?
Well, I said it. I didn't even know I was the favorite every time. But with a guy like Whittaker, I'm not surprised that I'm the underdog. How do you go? On what grounds do you go and say, no, Driccus, on betting odds, go, no, Driccus is beating Whittaker? On what grounds? With my opponents, they don't add up to his. The amount of fights don't add up. He's had the belt. He's fought the champ twice. He hasn't lost to anybody else in almost a decade. So, yeah, he deserves to be the betting favorite, 100%. And, I'm not even offended by it at all. For me, this is where I'm taking over. This is where I become the betting favorite. This is a fight that puts me in that tier. And, yeah, 100%. This is my time. There's a champion and there's a contender. And up until you beat the champion, nobody believes you're going to beat that champion. And Robert Whittaker, rightfully so, is a fan and betting favorite. But that is for now, up until I surpass that spot. Good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.